It sounds hyperbolic, and I'm sure it is, but I just think Paul Giamatti is the greatest actor. There's nothing he can't do. From the moment I first met him, when he auditioned for Sideways for me, going on 20 years ago, I thought, this guy can make even bad dialogue work, and he can, no matter what the dialogue. I had him in Omaha for a public interview, and I said, you know, Paul Giamatti, you can really make bad dialogue work. I'll bet you could even read the phone book, like they say, read the phone book and make it compelling. And he laughed, and I leaned over and I pulled out the Omaha phone book and I handed it to him. I said, would you please just open up to a page? He started reading it and brought the house down.
As Democritus said, o cosmos eleosis, o vios e polypsis. World is decay, life is perception.
And he's just a lovely guy, brilliant guy, most well-read human I know.
When we did Sideways, I was like, am I being too weirdly wide a range I'm doing here? With some of this stuff I'm very kind of subtle, and some of it I'm very broad. But then it all knit together really well. And it's unique, and it's hard to do, very hard to do, to pull off that mix.
Well, the part was written for him. Every take Paul Giamatti does is completely truthful and completely new. And sometimes even after I know we have takes good enough to put into the movie, I'll do a couple more takes just because it's so fun. Because it's just so fun to watch him, and I just want to see what else is rattling around inside there. Cut. Great. Okay. Anything else you don't do? Yeah, there you go. One more. One more. Going again.
Paul is just such a joy, and he's fantastic at his job and his work, and yet at the same time he doesn't take it too serious and can have fun, and it makes me then feel comfortable to play and to try as many things as possible. But I love right before they say action, I'll peek a look and you'll see him just like morph and fall into place, into his character.
First off, the guy is, he is an inspiration, and he's just incredible to watch perform, because we all know Paul just from him being like friendly to us and everything. But as soon as that camera rolls, you can totally see him turn from Paul Giamatti into Paul Hunnam. It's this total teacher thing that you're like, okay, this guy's a total jerk.
I can't fail this class.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Mr. Coates. I truly believe that you can.
Alexander came in and whispered a direction that I did not hear. But you just see him go from kind of like anxiety, frustration, hope, immense affection, kind of protectiveness, loss, and regret. Like 7 things, like boom, 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 boom. And I'm just like, and I'm getting all choked up watching this, and I'm going, hasn't said a word, hasn't moved his head.
Working with Paul it's a master class, but the questions I ask him are less of how do you act this and more so how do you deal with this. So he's been a crucial support system for me, and we don't really talk about the movie most of the time. We kind of just talk about reading and stuff. We go to bookstores sometimes together.
Believe it or not, Mr. Tully, there was a time when the fire in my loins burned white hot.
You're full of shit.
No, the details would curl your toes.
Okay, we're finally getting to the good stuff. Let's hear.
Maybe when you're 18. Curl your toes!
So we know it's going to be Paul Giamatti. Who's going to play the boy? We had about 800 submissions from around the English-speaking world. We liked a few, but who really felt right? Finally, the casting director, Susan Shopmaker, and I looked at each other and said, well, time to do what we had talked about doing at the start of the process. Let's call up the drama departments of the schools where we're actually going to be shooting and see who's there. And damn, that's where we found him. We found Dominic Sessa, an actual senior where we were shooting. He had never been in front of a camera before. He was an actor and a star in the drama department, and I still had to audition him a few times to make sure that his skills on stage could be modified to become a film actor, but he took to it like a duck to water.
So I just finished my fall play at my high school. For me, it was just kind of a cool opportunity to see what it was like to audition for a film. I went in for my first audition, and I was pretty relaxed because I wasn't expecting much out of it.
When I heard that they cast this unknown who had never really acted before, I had a little pause, but of course you trust Alexander Payne. He's not going to let somebody be in his movie that's not going to be able to do it. And this kid has grown so much from day one, which really speaks to his intelligence. Paul also works really beautifully with him, and the dynamic between them has been just lovely to watch.
You can do this. Yeah, I was going to tell you the same thing.
Dominic is amazing. It's been one of the most amazing parts of this is working with him. And to watch him where he's come over the course of this is astonishing, actually. I've never seen anything quite like it. At first there was a sense of like, well, I can sort of help him along, maybe give him some pointers, which felt like a kind of teacher-student thing. But very quickly he didn't need my help at all. I mean, he's fantastic. He's just an amazing person too. I really like hanging out with him.
I would say what I'm the most impressed with is the human being that he is. He's so kind and gentle and very intelligent, and there's an old soul about him. I remember in the very beginning when we were just doing table reads, and we still had at least 2, if not 3 weeks before filming, he was already off book. I was not off book. So I was very impressed.
I was a hockey player coming into high school. That's why I came to boarding school in Massachusetts. I wanted to play prep school hockey. But then too many injuries. I actually broke my femur skateboarding, and the concussion I got from that ended up being the problem. And there was a show they were doing. It was like, if I can memorize the lines in a script, then I can rehab this concussion. I had learned the script so well at that point that I just auditioned for the show and did it.
I like to get actors with good comic chops to play dramatic characters. Comic actors have a sense of rhythm and kind of keep things aloft without cheapening the emotions, on the contrary.
So you just get this for everybody?
I had seen Divine Joy Randolph and enjoyed her immensely in Dolomite Is My Name. So she was among the actors I met for that part, and I just kind of fell in love with her.
When he told me he was casting Divine, I was very excited. And she's been everything I hoped she would be and more, and she's a lot of fun and very creative.
There's a genuine affection between Divine and Paul that was sort of mirrored and amplified when the cameras were rolling.
She just brings a really special energy, I think, to my acting in particular.
Carrie Preston, who plays Miss Lydia Crane in the film, to my shame, I didn't know who she was before she auditioned. I don't watch a lot of contemporary movies. I watch old movies, and I watch even less TV, much less network TV, where she had won Emmys for The Good Wife. She auditioned and just impressed me deeply, and even more so after working with her.
She's one of these people who it's precise and free at the same time. It's like just perfect.
My character, Angus Tully, is a definitely very damaged kid. Being at a boarding school, I can understand how heartbreaking that would be to be ready for break and then have your own parents tell you that you can't come home for Christmas. I remember Alexander telling me something Jack Nicholson told him was, when you take a role, you're 90% already the person, and it's just that other 10% you kind of have to work on, and definitely feel like I resonated with the character in a lot of ways.
I do relate with Jason. I grew up playing football. Jason's an incredible athlete.
Do you consider yourself an incredible athlete?
I am an incredible athlete. Yes,
I don't relate to him in the nerdy aspect. I wouldn't put myself in that category. I don't go out of my way to study.
I did have to study some Korean culture, especially with the accent, which was really hard for me. I did have some coaching, and I did spend a lot of time working on that.
My family is in Korea, and they think it's too far for me to travel alone.
But I also do go to boarding school, and I was really homesick, actually, the last few weeks before coming here, so I can really identify with that.
It's like 15 degrees outside, and the Romans bathed naked in the freezing Tiber.
Adversity builds character, Mr. Tully.
Alexander Payne's a humanist. He wants to tell the human story, and he wants to see people in all their flawed glory.
It's one of those characters, he's unliked, but he's not unlikable. To walk that line of making him kind of a jerk, but a charming jerk, and a jerk with a kind of sense of humor, even about himself. It's all built into the script, which is nice.
He finds his heroism in the context of sacrifice, quiet, everyday heroism that changes lives.
It was my idea. He didn't trick me or slip the leash.
My favorite moments are the moments when I do absolutely nothing. I just stand back off to the side of the set and watch a really gifted director with these inspired actors.
Let's roll. Okay, stand by for picture.
Take 4.
Working with Alexander is the most pleasant, fun, open experience because he always allows life into the script or into the locations. Like the bowling alley, that was not a scripted location, but we saw this place and we knew we had to put it in here because it was so beautiful, so we changed a whole scene around this location. And he also wanted to show the owners of the place, Tom and Jerry, and he put them in the film as well.
It is like a kid in the candy shop. He truly loves this, truly. And he's giddy, and sometimes in between takes, he'll be dancing and smiling or clapping his hands like, you know what I mean, a little kid.
He's an amazingly good host, and he's even more of that. Like his love of every aspect of the thing, and for every person, and every department, and every extra, and he learns everybody's names. He learns all the extras' names.
And Ben, and what'd you say, you're Eric? Yeah, slightly behind him, okay?
It's even more of that than there was before.
It was lovely working with Paul on this one precisely because we had that history 18 years ago making Sideways. And some crew people commented to me about the few times I actually need to direct him, to tell him something, I could do so with a look or a grunt.
Sometimes there's explicit communication, but oftentimes it's almost monosyllabic because they know each other so well. They'll be like, cut, just more, a little of that, yeah. And you could maybe yes, and then not no, but more of the other thing, precisely.
And action.
I keep thinking about, is it different? He was a little bit more strict a long time ago about but he's less so now.
Oh, Paul, sorry. Oh, no, cut. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Back to one, please.
He's constantly asking my thoughts on Mary, and is this authentic? Does this ring true? Would she say this? Would she not say that? And that's rare.
You get a personal call from him to invite you to be a part of his movie, and it's so classy.
The biggest surprise for me was sort of how much agency he kind of allowed me in creating the role and the things I wanted to do.
Brady learned how to smoke a joint.
Yeah, I will say that was probably
He's a certified joint smoker right now.
It was that was a really interesting day. Alex, he came up to me, he goes, "Hey, you know how to use a lighter?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know how to use a lighter because Michael let me borrow one of his Zippo lighters."
Yeah.
So I was learning how to flick it open, shut it. But the smoking part I was not familiar with. So I thought all it was is, you hold it up, you light it, that's it. Which then, they had to tell me that you had to suck in air so it actually would stay lit. Well, that took me like 10 tries to get down. And so I think that was a pretty funny day for everyone but me. A lot of the times, which makes things hilarious, is Alexander will just start laughing out of nowhere. And it's very hard to just stay in character.
Action.
Welcome back, starving visigoths. I trust you all enjoyed a refreshing holiday. Oh, hello, Mr. Cummins. Or should I say Icarus? Fly a little too close to the sun, did we?
Huh?
Yeah. All right. Now, along with your skiing and swimming, I hope you found time to enlighten yourselves about the Peloponnesian War and its implications for today.
Just to check, we're going to start with a short pub quiz on the reading, and then we'll take the final from last semester. Omnia ex spinius praeter stilum.
I kind of feel like I went to film school on Alexander's back, in that, like, you know, he would make these references. He'd want something kind of tonally or visually, or he'd, you know, kind of want a narrative moment that, as opposed to try to unpack it verbally, he'd just be like, John Garfield, you know, all right. Michael Curtiz, point of no return, 1950, midpoint forward, click. Like, what? Hello?
We set up a FaceTime interview, and within 5 minutes we were like laughing so much together. And he also was saying, did somebody tell you to answer these questions this way? And it was just like an instant connection of how we like to do things. We both prefer to find locations with existing character.
Turns out change often comes slowly to New England, so we were able to find a lot of locations.
Alexander has made a 70s movie. How it's presented, how it's shot.
To create 1970, we start with a location that has period architecture, typically 1960 or earlier. And then from there, we start talking colors, tones, and then the details all come through set dressing for us, especially when we're building a character like Paul. There is a layer of neglect because Paul's stuck.
Philistines.
The set decorator, Marcus, is so good with those details, and he's one of those guys, he just never stops. I know he's working on the weekends, and he's lying to me about it. He's the guy who finds like those desks and the books that are on the bookshelves. He's so passionate and so good and so thoughtful. Like yesterday in Paul's classroom, I looked in Paul's desk, something that we would never see, but each drawer was dressed with appropriate things that would be in the drawer, just in case Paul were to look in there or something so he wouldn't be taken out of the scene.
Eigil Brill is our cinematographer. He is Danish, and he seems to do everything. He operates, he lights.
I think it's good.
Okay, good. Eigil's work, it's super cool. I look at the dailies, I'm like, wow, it does look like a 1970 film in the way that he's choosing to shoot it with lenses and how undersaturated the colors are.
David Fincher had described him to me as the hardest working cinematographer he had ever worked with. And coming from David Fincher, I knew that was something. The only trouble with him is that he's irritatingly good looking.
Wendy Chuck, our costume designer, has been with Alexander from the very beginning. We put her through a lot of financial hurdles.
If you were to look closely, you'd see these handbags repeated probably 20 times. Shoes also repeat. Hats and scarves have been repeated many times because we simply did not have the time or the money. You actually are painting a scene with the colors of clothes.
We were in Worcester, Mass, shooting a skating rink, and it was very cold, but it was fun to shoot ice skating. The extras were so carefully selected and clothed, and even had period skates.
I've played a lot of hockey in the past, but they gave me these really flimsy, too big figure skates. They really helped me in the scene because there's no reason why Angus should be a great skater. So it was easy to manipulate them in a way that made me fall on my face pretty believably, yeah.
We have this graphic designer that is named Nate. He has worked with Alexander for over 20 years now in all his films. Nate knows exactly what the scene might need and what Alexander's gonna like and not like. Alexander and Nate use a character named Tolf Hansen in all their films. And so it's this story of this man from Nebraska, where they both are from, who died a horrible death in New York City, but they kind of have kept him alive through using his name in different areas in films. So yeah, it's so cool. And we had to try 3 different times to get it in this film.
It was fun to shoot in the snow and take advantage of it and say, this is exactly what we want. We don't have to put any visual effects here in the snow. And then other scenes where you say, wait a minute, where's the snow? How does it match with what we've already shot? We had a couple of snow days where we had to shut down and literally were stuck in a hotel eating whatever food was coming out of the vending machines.
We spend so much time in pre-production together. And then once we start shooting, there's a separation that happens because I have to be ahead. And so we miss each other, but we get together on Saturday nights and we hang out.
Hello, Cami. How are you today? Good, good, good.